when it comes down to it.
Well, getting ourselves into it, Thermite is going to be the first operator to get banned out here. That's the second time that we have seen Thermite get banned, as we had that very, very fun match. I think it was with DarkZero back over on Clubhouse yesterday. This time, though, it's going to be G2 that knocks him out of the running. DarkZero will just choose to go for the knockban.
Pretty interesting offensive bans here. Thermite, very useful when it comes to Skyscraper. See him used on a lot of the outside panels just to break things down quite quickly. So see if that slows up any of the offensive play. Defensively, though, DarkZero will slow things down as well. Remove some of the wall denial on the likes of Bandit. Make Bandit tricking impossible.
Final ban to come through now, and we'll see which way G2 want to throw it. The Cadmus wants to get putting itself behind very much the same philosophy as that Bandit ban. Just a little bit of a different flair to it, but otherwise going to be pretty much the same exact goals behind knocking him out. So there we go. The ban set is complete, and we'll get ourselves into map number 1 now. Karaoke Tier has the expected site going to be first on the docket here for G2's defense. DarkZero on the attack. Let's see what type of lineup they will bring to bear to try and breach past that one. This is the site we've been seeing a lot of shield play to potentially execute into that one. However, DarkZero not immediately taking that route. We will see if the repicks potentially take them towards that, or if they still want to try and approach this one traditionally, just to start things out. As we know that DarkZero excel, of course, in that slow play anyway.
Yeah, we usually see that build up over towards this northern balcony here. We do see that shield play come in, so we'll see what DarkZero want to attempt to do here. They'll have 3 hard breachers working their way in if they want it, with Gavini having the option of the secondary hard breach. Canadian will throw things on over to the Dokkaebi. She also has secondary EMPs as well, so although Thatcher's gone, his spirit, his soul is still with us. Pambazoo will be on the Yana. She's actually the most played operator on the offensive side as of right now. Almost a 90% pick ban rate. So pretty incredible stuff. See what DarkZero can get done here for round 1.
You see DarkZero spawned out on the board. We're going to take a look at their players proceeding throughout the map here and just taking up initial positions. G2 still with a little bit more extension work to do over here towards the office side of the map. Will actually be setting themselves up quite strongly to try and fend off some of this early clear pressure that's going to be coming through from DZ, which will leave the actual site a little bit vulnerable here if DZ is able to catch on to that. With doubt, of course, considering it's DZ after all, that they're going to try to capitalize upon that, and I think that's part of G2's philosophy here as well. No way they're going to go for an early execute even if they see us weak in the site, so let's just play against their opening clear here and see how much time we can waste.
Well, there's one thing about DarkZero, one thing about Canadian especially. Don't want to flirt with those ideals too much. Quite the brain on that, man. G2, Logic Bomb out. Be the first use from DarkZero. They'll discover a man on the house stairs. It'll be Doki-san. No swing coming yet. Finally, it'll be Benji to take down Gab. I think that was on the other portion of the map. Yes, sir. Able to clean him up over on the office side. No teeth to this just yet from DarkZero, and they are getting stunted. Skies with a lot of damage. They'll finally get a panel open, but it looks like the pressure from G2 is currently working out.
Benja and the rest of G2 will continue to rotate over here, as they so far have been able to do a fantastic job of wasting out the time from DarkZero. Gavini has gone down. Skies as well, already sitting at low HP. Gonna try and see if they can recover from this situation. Stalwart in the angles they've already established here now. Panba specifically, and you can imagine NJR doing something similar, trying to overwatch for any movement from G2, but G2's smart, not going to get tripped up by those types of plays. Like I said before, they know exactly what to expect when going up against a team of this caliber. They're certainly not going to make any mistakes of that nature to walk into those kills. So you can see once again that matrix that was deployed out towards office side, it's gone now. Completely fallen back to the interior of the site, and DarkZero has made pretty much no progress on actually setting themselves up for that execute. Going to be a big issue for them now, as they only have a minute remaining and they're still down that player.
A huge obstacle here, and this is what G2 exactly wanted. This middle section of the building, so difficult for many teams to try and get their way past, but this might be the first little piece falling down for G2. Doki will go down in sight. Maybe recoverable though. Gonna try and seal up the wall, but Pamba will be able to clean that up. 4 versus 4. Doesn't have any frag grenades to try and assist this, and the rest of the squad only down to some throwables, and those happen to be some stuns. So have the chance to try and burn things out or assist themselves on the entry. Try and blind some members with these last 20 seconds, but something's got to give. They got to make a move here. Still have Geisha position being held from G2 as well. So many solid crossfires for them. It's going to be really difficult for DarkZero to try and get through this, and they are finally going to try and step up. Benja holds it down in Geisha, and JR will take him down, trying to hold the center hallway, but the kill's now pouring in towards DarkZero. Need to try and find a home for this plant. They'll start it now. It's going to be Overwatch here from Canadian, but quickly dispatched from Alamau, and that'll be a 3 on him. G2, very well done for round 1. Fantastic showcase on how to show that pressure over on the far side.
With that one being locked down, good settlement is going to be made for G2 at the beginning of this matchup. Now just time to build on that one and see if they can push things a step further. DarkZero looks for that revenge, but gonna have to try and see if they can find a way to get past this extension as G2, I'm betting you, is going to attempt to do something similar on this run. And just naturally they will, because of the site they're going to over downstairs now into barbecue. We'll still have that hold deployed over, of course, into the tea room area up above now. We'll be playing it much like they played the delay in Office on the previous round. So DZ needs to quickly find a way to speed things up on that initial clear. Otherwise, they're going to be running into that same obstacle throughout this entire half.
And G2 is going to keep doing it till you lose or it stops working. So, education time now for DarkZero. Might need some change up in the play later on down the line, but as of right now, it's just a learning period for them. That first round, definitely a lot to garner from that, as G2, with all of that pressure towards the eastern side, fall back after getting that pick onto DarkZero. DZ eventually able to get some kills going their way, but such little time remaining that they could really do. The supporting angles really not there either for the Overwatch on the case. Ended up having to try and play it off of the black balcony, so unfortunate there for them. Now for G2, they're going to toss us down into Barbecue and Kitchen. This is a site that we don't usually see as the second pickup here for a lot of teams. It'll be quite interesting to see how G2 wants to hold this one down.
Very individual focused right now for G2. As you can see, specifically the Capcan just roaming on his own by the front stairs. Alamau, very much the player you'd want to be on their own if there was going to be one, of course, but still very precarious. And the obvious potential of him getting cut off here, should it transpire, would be very, very bad, as there's zero room for him to get traded out by one of his teammates here. He is aware of that, though, and does not overstay his welcome. Pretty much immediately falls back from the staircase after being spotted out by the drone presence, and repositions himself a bit closer to the natural extension upstairs.
Logic bomb down for Gav. Nothing really coming from DarkZero just yet, but this is to be expected. Love working the map with these logic bombs, but a huge pick from Alamau. Wow, what an angle from him. Practically a singular shot out of that SMG is what ends Gavini. 0-2, no longer have to worry about the logic bombs either, but you have to worry about the util game still from DZs. They got a lot of explosives still to go, including some frag grenades to boot. Could be the difference maker here for DarkZero if Pambazu can land one of those, but so far G2 have been fully in control of this game.
G2 continuing to exercise that control after their opening pick was found. Blur with the potential lineup here, but he's missed it by a few seconds. Gotta be careful too. I think he's aware of it though. That potential pinch coming in from the other side of Drum. It's gonna work against him here if he's not cautious about it. DarkZero though peeling away, once again entering that pivotal 1 minute marker here, and not anywhere near closer to the site as of yet here. G2 once again succeeding with the extension. DarkZero now looking for a new way to approach things. It's trying to take care of at least some of this from the bottom to top nade usage. Every step they take, it just seems like they're walking into another issue here. Panba getting caught out. Oh, unfortunate nitro cell toss there by the defense. Just barely clips the wall. For sure, would have been able to knock out Panba in that situation had it gone through and landed in the correct spot. He was still mid-pull on the goo mine, but just couldn't get the job done. Panba and NJR, though, now start to bring things back with 2 definitive kills of their own. Blur, a wide swing that does not sink at all here. He's forced back now into the actual kitchen itself. Tries to go for another wrap around the corner. Pre-fires again, just not working out for him as DarkZero continue to take more and more of the site control away from the G2 roster. Blur not done yet with his aggressive swings though. Leaning into it, finally getting revenge here as he knocks out Panba. Tries to take control of the sushi bar, nearly loses his life in the process, but still keeps the presence going. Sky's making up the difference, and as does NJR. He'll find the double on this round. Alamau to take out one with the EDD, but the plant's going down. Can Benja find it? It's way too far away. Skies will successfully throw it down onto the ground, but now, can he win the 1v1? Info sent to Benja. He gets the spray through the wall. Skies, no reacting over Benja! Goes for a second attempt of that spray. Doki's bewildered as he suddenly realizes what's happened. The counter defuse will come in, and G2 still stay flawless here at a 2-0 lead.
The absolute mad lad spams the wall, John, finds the angle. Had no idea where that case even went down. He just knew that it was clear at the front of Barbecue. Potential for him to be at the back, and Skies standing head tall. Unfortunate for DarkZero. Skies usually so positive in the clutch, but unfortunate there for him. Benja so smart with his play. Now G2 up 2 rounds because of it, and Benja on a tear this entire tournament here so far as well. A 1.1, he's matched up with Alamau, but he's got some more kills, plus 26, as he had 154 kills so far this tournament before this game started. That's through 15 maps. Also had a KPR of a 0.85, all on top of that. So, been playing extremely well. And a heck of a pickup there for G2, as well as able to get a little cash grab there away from Heroic before this tournament.
Nicely done so far by our defenders. They continue to excel. This time in the late round clutch, DarkZero not able to bring it out under their control. Just too rushed of a take there. And while yes, they got past it ultimately for the plant. Big props to Skies as well as NJR for picking up those trades in the mid round there. Just not enough of a safe position. They had kept one player rolling, probably could have closed that one out from a 2v1 much more realistically, with Benja has had the clutch genes on that previous round there, had the read on Skies. It's that beautiful spam through the wall to take him down. So G2 still stay unscathed here at a 2-0 lead over the DZ roster. And DZ once again will have to deal with a very similar set of circumstances. G2 once more deploying themselves out from the site, specifically Doki on his own this time. A little bit different from the previous round where we were seeing Alamau be that player to deploy himself towards it. This time he's kept himself a bit deeper into the site, I imagine, as we'll be playing onto the Warden here.
You can see DarkZero really worried about this early engagements, aren't they, John? We got double hard breach, double EMPs as well on top of the logic bombs.
And this is a problem, right? They can't really play like that because then they're being pulled away from the intel gain game, which means they're not going to be in a good position when we get to that 20-second mark where they like to actually make their plays. G2 just, at the moment for me, G2 just has the perfect counter to DarkZero, and DarkZero unfortunately has not had an answer yet. Yeah, and they're even like, they even have Benja on the Mozzie here too, right? So like when you even get into those later rounds, if they're able to pick up some important drones, and the round is practically over, DarkZero has to try and fly in blind, and Bambazu's now gone, so is NJR. DarkZero cannot set up the kill box that they're used to. G2 just keep winning the fights. And G2 continue to excel in the early round as a result of that pickup there. 5v3 now becomes the player count here. Obviously a bit of damage returned on Doki. Nitro from below could potentially strike here too. You can see it's primed. And that player on the other side certainly hearing the footsteps, but not with full confidence that the Nitro is actually going to land. And so far they are correct about that as well. The other side of it, still waiting for Benja to potentially line this one up, but a few moments here, DarkZero is going to move on and he'll lose his opportunity. Nothing truly lost, of course, in the grand scheme of things for G2, but would be nice to bring that count for DZ down to 2 and make it a fairly simple affair to end the round once DZ finally build the confidence to strike forward here. Gaveni lining himself up by one of the big windows, but obviously, as you can see, Doki has a mirror window on the other end of it. No safe path forward from there. But Benja just walks right up. Skies has the phone out. That's an easy pick for him. Screw the Nitro cell. He just takes the fight directly and is able to bring those numbers down to 2 anyway.
No Solus on the field. Still no flank drone for DarkZero. Plenty of them out, 6 and 2. 8 drones available. A couple of those obviously can be on some dead friends here, but DarkZero's looking for some dead presidents now. Canadian collecting the bag. 2 to 3. But only 20 seconds remain. This has been the biggest problem for DarkZero so far. Their timing has been so poor on the actual site. There's so much to deal with. You have the mirror windows, you have Benji on the counter angle here. Canadian, he knows he's got to be somewhere over there. He pre-fires in, but the perfect spot there from Benja. The dagger right now is G2. No veil needed. They are just stabbing DarkZero to death.
We have the kind of expected DarkZero timeout coming in, so let's take a listen and see how they're going to try and rebound from these big issues that have shown up in the first 3 rounds.
I think we're just, because of these full players, and they're just kind of torching our time. We're on our time in the late round. So yeah, I think if we switch into ISOs, we'll actually work in these mid and late round picks extremely well. They're just making it. Yeah, that's exactly what these ISOs will do. We're going to have more time at the end of the round. It's just, the only thing we're also missing is, like, comps are actually great. The only thing we're missing is that late round direction. Like, do we think we're going to be able to plan? Do we need to make a play somewhere? Yeah, just a little bit more late round direction, and we'll put some time on our hands. We're chilling, guys. Skyscraper attack. Let's just get 2 here. 2, 3.
So, what are we thinking for the fucking So I think.
Well, absolutely loved everything the Min had to say there. Loved the tail end as well, where he was like, you guys could get 2 rounds on offense. That'd be great. Or, you know, you could get 3. That'd be sick if you did. I mean, you don't have to, unless, I mean, we'll see what DarkZero is capable of. But yeah, a lot to be said there from what Mint was talking about. You know, we touched on the later rounds, saying that a lot of the picks coming through on that end, which absolutely true. G2 giving up a lot of those late round engagements. But the other thing as well on top of that, though, is G2 have a lot more man advantage to play with in these scenarios. So far, it's really just been those punishing rounds for DZ. We'll see if they can stop the bleeding, if they can get that dealt with. As Mint was saying, those late rounds look to be DarkZero's. Round 4, though, is it theirs? G2 on a reign of terror right now, and DarkZero have got to stop it.
DarkZero, as we heard in the pause, certainly fully understanding of the issues that we have even talked about here on the broadcast. They definitely are reading into it correctly. It's now just a matter of can they make those appropriate adjustments. Seems like they're going to be speeding things up based on the conversation we had inside of that pause right there. So let's see how exactly they will look to accomplish that. We've already seen on at least one round DarkZero try to go for even a rush play. So they certainly have those plays in the book. It's just a bit of an unfamiliar ask of them, considering it's a far cry from the normal play style, but still going to see a pretty slow wind-up for the first 30 seconds or so. More likely won't see any major changes to the play until we get down to around that 2-minute mark, once they feel the confidence to begin moving in a bit more here and try to go for a more direct fight against some of these holds from G2.
Yeah, you never know what they've been practicing for. It's a key thing. G2, no real find here early just yet. Same thing for DarkZero, but they've been mostly leaning into their info game here again. So have all of the drones up as well through the first minute, so very well done by them. They've gotten Gavini in. Skeleton key available to him here too, and this is a fantastic position to be in. Might have the first big swing. And this is where the positivity could come for DarkZero. You're really looking for them to try and lead off and get a big pick, because that's been the hardest ask of them. Have not been able to get these big finds, and it's made it so easy for G2 to try and deal with their late rounds, even past the big kills that they've been able to garner. NJR is going to get the hard breach down and start getting some pressure towards Geisha. Doesn't really have too much help past himself, so get back on rappel here, swing back in farther down the line.
Rest of DarkZero trying to move forward, trying to establish map presence here, but once again, well, they are able to get it on off-site positions. It hasn't led into a successful pinch just yet. We are going to see the execute lead a little bit more prematurely here, however, as we do see a few of the players hiding outside of Geisha now. And when you consider that, along with the one player we have sitting below the site here in Barbecue right now, it does leave a potential pathway open for DarkZero to try to go for a pinch play, but yet again, already down to that final minute. Alamo at least seems more than ready for the hold here, but he just has to win the actual gunfight. Terradra nicely timed here, forces him out of the way. They'll throw the Toxic Babe down, but at this point, in all honesty, the attackers may choose to challenge it forward anyway. They go for it. He's able to go 1-for-1 at least in that position as he takes down Gaveni with Skies trading him out, working his way in through the balcony doorway. Doki now trying to flank in from that same stairwell. But at the same time, a lot of his teammates have been battled out. He'll go for the jump. It's a long drop with, unfortunately, a Claymore sitting at the other side of it. So he also goes down 1-for-1. DarkZero with the edge, and now a potential shutdown here as well. Finally, they get their feet on the ground as they give us a convincing take on the T room.
DarkZero finally getting the initial pick. Just as Mint said, the late rounds theirs. G2 giving over everything. Love the play that we saw in Black Stairs as well there with the Rotero drone coming in. Alamau having to force himself up the stairwell, get away from that explosive, and ends up having to take that fight against Gavini. Unfortunately for Gavini, ends up losing it to the shotgun. I just think he got caught off guard, the fact that Alamau was actually in that corner, but still Sky's able to get up that big pick. And that's exactly what DarkZero needed for that round, starting things off on the right foot after that tack timeout.
Attackers have located a bomb.
As we have DarkZero yet again spawning out in about 20 or so seconds here. G2 gonna call that last round a little bit of a fluke and just go for the retry on the same site here. Similar flare to the operator lineups that is going to leave things in a very similar play position for DarkZero to clear things out. Now, we'll add the Ying into their lineup this time to potentially get a little bit of a stronger execute from the balcony to get slowed down a little bit there when they were finally ready to move forward, but indeed succeeded in their overall goal of speeding up the overall take, making those extensions from G2 that we were seeing be so successful in the first 3 rounds turn into a bit of a moot point ultimately, as DarkZero able to just bully their way right past them. We'll see if they can pull off the same thing here yet again, as G2 still giving us that similar flair, though they do have a little bit more direct presence on the site from the beginning of this round compared to the ones that we've seen played on this site previously. Those locks have now come in for DarkZero as well. Interestingly, Thatcher ends up being locked into this lineup as well. I'm not going to see a whole lot or really any hard breach emphasis come into this round too heavily, but 1 or 2 walls maybe knocked down, and that could be pivotal for the team to potentially get access to things. If they are wanting to push, say, from Geisha's side, we could see that be a little bit more emphasized. However, for the most part, we have seen them going for the balcony pushes, so I'm not going to find immediate use from it, in my opinion.
DarkZero able to match the energy necessary to pick themselves up in their very first round. Round 5 now. G2 to reset themselves. More than likely might show the same teeth that we'd seen prior though, especially for Benja's case, as he's been playing so very well. Some big pickups and some big contributions to G2's case. Take Skyscraper. DarkZero is going to end up breaking into Geisha. Get that dealt with. Blur in the area to try and quickly respond. Still have plenty of top floor presence from G2 across the board, but we know that DarkZero really doesn't concern themselves with that until much later into the round. Right now, it's all about the crosses and trying to get G2 to make a mistake. Could be at any moment. That's what happens with these things. You never know which angle it will be. Big adjustments from a multitude of different teams when it comes to a play style like this. I have the creeping play coming now. We can see the DarkZero member directly below Black Stairs there. Pambazu's going to be rotating on the outside of the building, but I do believe that's Gavini down low. Once again, yes, indeed. Going to be inside of Barbecue, trying to work his drones over on this end for the last minute.
Goes full quiet yet again as DarkZero still looking for proper placement to get themselves to the inside of the building. Benja and the rest of G2 just patiently waiting for it right now. They're like, all right, this is cool. We still have these positions, and they've only got 30 seconds left, so the more the merrier as far as we're concerned. If they do want to try to pressure us, Benja gets the down against his initial opponent, trying to work their way in through Samurai. Does not end up working out, though. And on top of that, DarkZero able to pick up quite a few more kills. Pamba at least gets confirmed as a roaming Doki down on the first floor. Gets the Pokeball from that side. He'll claim another one as they attempt to cut him off, rotating back to the site. Doki single-handedly re-equalizes the equation and has now thrown DarkZero off as they enter their final 10 seconds to try to make this execute work. Great spot coming in here from Canadian, and he's indeed going to get that confirmation against Alamel, but Virtue also stole away one of their own teammates. Where's that plant coming down? We have not seen it yet, and with that timer coming to an expiration, G2 once again hold the mantle inside of Tier Room, claiming a 4th round with 1 to go in this half.
And that is the downfall of that play style from DZ. Such slow delivery, such oh my goodness, such slow cadence. That's what I was trying to get at there. From DZ ends up leading them into a position where if the kills don't end up going your way, or if G2 are able to slow you down in any sense of the term, then you're more than likely going to end up losing on timer. You have to try and force that plant down, and well, there for G2, Doki was able to be the hero and slow up DarkZero just enough to where it was going to be a big issue. They have to try and go for the frags instead. Don't know where a safe space is for the planner, and it doesn't work out. They're dropping that round, and the early rounds here for DarkZero, pretty solid, but it's just that they're really not getting too much map control past that. We're getting a lot of angles held, lots of walls opened, and things prepped to play into the last minute, but nothing to really deal any damage to G2. They're still allowed to flutter around the map how they want to. They're just not really crossing paths with DarkZero until DarkZero gets forceful onto the map. Minus that obvious previous round that we saw from DZ, where they're able to get some big picks immediately on their entry when asked, but G2 able to change things up. Change of fate inside of that last round.
There's not many risks being taken by DarkZero, I think is a good way to describe it here. They're trying to play it ultra safe, and it's come back to bite them in quite a few ways here. And while they've been able to fix parts of it, the core issue is still a problem here. They're just, as you mentioned, not really getting a significant enough map control, and which is leaving massive swaths of the map open for instance, Doki to just roam around the first floor, confirm that Pokeball kill, and then pick up another one because they don't know really where he's moving. They don't have, I'm assuming at this point, they don't have like, preset drones for him set up and things like that, just not being considered because they're not actually testing the waters until like 50 seconds on the clock.
Same as the Benja situation. That's how he got that huge flank up the restaurant stairs. No drones for anybody to really watch down here in this bar space, and simply walks up and shoots guys in the side of the head. Bullet for my Valentine, it seems. Vini and the rest. DarkZero looking for some new love here with round 6. They can find any. Not a great start here for Gav. 0-5 right now, John. Trying to make his way through it. Been able to find some engagements, but just hasn't really been able to get it with the soft breach just yet.
He's been a very on and off player this tournament, I've noticed so far. We've had some games where I've been incredibly impressed with him, and he's been at the forefront of most of the successful rounds for DarkZero, but then there's also games like this where he's unfortunately just getting shut down. We're not really seeing him be a part of the equation at all, so it's very unfortunate to see, but somewhat expected given the fact that he's a pretty new player to this tier of play. And once again, has to kind of gain that experience, I think, to find the consistency that we are seeing out of his best games, in my opinion. So it's not entirely his fault. It's just a kind of lack for experience. There may be some circumstances being thrown at him. He might end up being kind of hyper-targeted in a few of these rounds. He just doesn't really know how to handle that. So there's a lot of things that could be going wrong over in the DarkZero camp. And the opening kills is going to be one of them, unfortunately. Doki striking true yet again here in round number 6 to knock out Canadian, bringing him down low. And he's not the only one. You can see Skies being heavily lit up, now claimed by Virtue. Blur with another pickup also. Gavani with the swing around here.
No way.
Making the confirmation onto the Geisha player. He's just toying with them now. But Benja goes a little too low there, pops his legs out. Panba finds a second response kill, bringing it down to 3 here for G2. But at the same time, Gavani, now the only one left standing, finally got his first kill there a few seconds prior, but Doki stops it from going any further as he has the winning angle from below.
Go, man. Woo! Good fucking crossfire, Blue. Let's go. Yeah, that was a fucking...
Virtue's so locked in, he didn't even see Fabian's hand in his peripheral vision. He's just burrowing a hole right into the center of his monitor right there. Well, fantastic half there from G2. For DarkZero, timeout down, and no real opportunity or real consideration for the early round throughout that entire half on Skyscraper.
The good news is, of course, on defense now, so don't have to worry about those pacing issues anymore. That's all reset now. There is obviously a whole different set of problems that could pop up down there on the other side, but we haven't seen a round player yet, so we're going to hold our breath on that until we potentially see. Just the bigger issue, of course, is the 1-5 scoreline now. A bit of an insurmountable comeback that they'll have to work towards, but we've already seen teams pull it off at this event, so it's not entirely impossible for DarkZero to swing things back under their control. They give us a convincing round number 1, especially here in Tier.
10 seconds left before insertion.
Well, they're going to have the Solus in play, as well as the Zombie, 2 of our strongest ops that we have on defense right now, both making it through as well, as we had some pretty interesting bans. 2 Electrifiers off the board. Touched on that a little bit earlier. The Thermite being the one that was pretty unique, but honestly not that much of a change from what we usually see here on Theme Park playstyle-wise. Everybody's still able to get the walls open fairly easily. No real challenges. Let's see if G2 are able to go about things like they would normally. DarkZero with a solid setup, very, very much considering the center of the map, that hallway that we always kind of talk about when it comes to this area. Hard to break down, and that's what G2 was going to have to try and combat. They'll start themselves from the east, just like we saw from DarkZero, but as for DarkZero, not very many bodies like we saw from G2's setup.
G2 continue to...
There's a lot of X-Kairos, Blur.
Just kind of overkill on that one there to make sure he gets it all open. I think he might have mispositioned 1 or 2 and had to go for an additional one because of that one, but all good as the opening is claimed either way. No resistance comes in for the defense to stop it from being open, so it all works, I suppose, when it's all said and done. Enjar will be the direct challenge on the inside of Geisha here. At the same time, G2 beginning to stack up a lot of openings to his position. Could lead itself into a battle quite prematurely here. Doki is a little interested on a different angle, however, as I believe he sees one crossing all the way out into the hallway there. Wants to try and see if he can get a challenge from that particular angle first. He's not going to be able to find it. It's not like it's currently manned by anyone from DZ. NJR playing the only one that he would have to worry about. So for now, just waiting for the rest of his teammates to get into positions so that he can justify the actual play forward.
In the last minute we go, and you can see just how difficult it is to try and get yourself wrapped around this top floor and start getting some major pickups. Skies will actually be the first one going down. Pretty unique as well, as that's going to be the smoke gone. Big frag grenade, and JR gone as well. G2, they have plenty of time for this execute now. 2 big kills, the smoke gone, no real preventative maintenance here from DarkZero now. They have some impacts, but those 2 players set on fire. Oh my! G2 emulate DarkZero 6-1.
We didn't really get it on camera there, but there was a final fight. Alamau being ripped down to like 20 or less HP. I think before he even fired a response bullet and somehow was able to turn it back into his favor. Very unfortunate right now as DarkZero just cannot seem to get a duel to win their life, as it's looking like a very, very clean map number 1 potentially to show up for G2. Unless there is a serious change of pace from DarkZero showing up here on this round now, and one that'll stay alive throughout the rest of this game. It's a big ask, and one that might just be a little bit too much for this team at this point in the series.
And there was the big change there from G2 in comparison to DarkZero's entire offensive set. They get up right to the gates of the defensive setup. They get those players in down low and start going for picks. The thing that I wish we really got to see was the interaction with Skies, because that's what set it all off. I don't really know if Skies went for a peek there or somebody was able to get a cheeky angle or what have you, but that match with the positioning down low with that nade play is what made it nigh impossible for DarkZero to try and really work anything out of that. It was like trying to get blood from a stone. You don't have any smokes to try and stop anybody from entering any point. G2 has so many more bodies than you. You practically have to get a 3K as one guy to really make anything matter. So for DarkZero, it's going to be hard fought either way at that point, and well, it was a flawless round for G2, and I'll just let that speak for itself.
As we continue to see G2 set themselves up for the next run-in, Zero as well spread out their own matrix in an attempt to try and slow things down similarly to how we're watching G2 execute towards the beginning of this map. Unfortunately, it's not as convincing of a start here. The cross is much better for G2. They're able to find out Canadian early on into the round, eliminating that free roaming Solus, but all for very annoying utility elimination capabilities along with it here. So the players on DarkZero continue to look for another opportunity to make it up, but they're doubling down now without really a choice. They have to peel it back, but there's no guarantee they can get those players in position. Panba goes for a hop out, and yeah, he gets the kill, but the problem is he also runs into a Claymore during the process of that one. Skies left alone. Now, to be fair to Skies, he's been in this situation before, and he has managed to come out on top of quite a few of them. This one, though, going to be a little too much. G2 making incredibly quick work of map number 1 here as they rush their way through it. 7-1 is the final score as they make a statement here to start out the series.
Wow. On DarkZero's map pick as well, Fabian and G2 get it done in convincing fashion. How does DarkZero recover, though? Only 1 round, an entire game, and they used their tag timeout, tried to get things going back on the offensive side, but nothing doing for DZ. Now a long talk and, well, a short break as we're going to toss you guys to that. We'll be back.